This story starts after Spawn barely survives a short clash with Angela, a warrior whose proficiency is to hunt down hell spawns, and has been doing so for centuries.
Hey, Simmons, that was pretty impressive. You don't often see an angel take off like a bat out of hell.
That was an angel, but she tried to kill me.
Like I said, there's a lot you don't know.
He then goes to inspect the weapon she left behind despite being warned not to touch it.
There's some kind of button on the side.
I said don't! Like I said, a good kid, just not very bright.
We then follow him to a bizarre and dreamlike state where the author, Todd McFarlane, lightly inserts himself into the story, claiming he is both Spawn and not Spawn. Being Spawn in ways that include sharing his memories, as well as his love for Wanda and Cyan, his hatred for the Violator, and feeling their heart beating. And is not Spawn in ways that include knowing the names of the detectives that currently pursue Spawn, why the smaller one is called Twitch, and generally knows everything about each character, even aspects that they themselves have forgotten, and even knows every location that Spawn ventures in and beyond, with the exception of the 7th level of Hell, known as Erebus. But that is nothing but a bump on the road, as unlike Spawn, he has no necroplasm to drain should he desire to teleport. In fact, it isn't considered teleportation to him, as he is omnipresent in this universe. All he has to do is focus on a specific location, and he goes there.
Now I will know everything.
He is then taken to a place that looks eerily similar to the alleyway where Spawn crowned himself king, and sees figures bound helplessly with bags over their heads. Spawn claims that although he doesn't know them, he still feels a connection to them, that without them, he feels like he wouldn't exist. This indicates to us that these figures are supposed to represent the creators that inspired Todd with their work throughout the years, but are bound by contracts to big comic book industries, severely restricting their creativity. And this point couldn't be driven home any further than the next panel, which shows familiar arms of well-beloved characters helplessly reaching out of their cage, seeking justice.
They are heroes, champions, watchmen, avengers, defenders, men of steel, women of tomorrow, gods of thunder, crusaders. They are trapped. They are screaming. Behind me, the hooded men tremble. Beneath their hoods, they are weeping. No!
Overwhelmed with their pleas, Spawn tries to incinerate them with his hellblaze, all to no avail.
No effect. None.
Although the hands have retreated behind the cage, Spawn can still hear their voices inside his head. 100, 1,000, 10,000, all demanding one thing, for Spawn to take their powers. And then he hears a lone voice, from he who first came, and it doesn't need any explanation as to who he is.
It's up to you, Spawn. It's now or never. My power is yours, Spawn. Take it!
After absorbing their powers, Spawn, who is also not Spawn, reaches powers beyond cosmic and beyond comprehension.
My arms are the earth and the stars and the planets, and all the galaxies that ever were or ever will be.
He then tries to swing his newfound powers as he did back in the cage, and yet still, no effect. He is then immediately transported to a vision of the Violator, who is also not the Violator, repeating the words, "You failed," and is wearing a dress that is made up of dollar bills and holds a set of scales that has bags of money on one end and a blackened heart in the other. Then the unpleasant image suddenly shatters, and Spawn finds himself back where he started with the row of tied-up men. But this time in the cage, Superman quietly sits alone, muttering only a single word.
Doomsday.
Then the world goes both dark and silent, to the point where Spawn finds it agonizing. But then a voice calls out in the darkness.
Spawn, come on, let's go.
But I have to save them.
You can't. It's best not to think about it. Cerebus has been here 15 years. Cerebus knows.
Spawn then asks who are the men who are tied up.
They're creators, the ones who sold them. Like Cerebus said, it's best not to think about it.
He also asks why Cerebus's place is black and white, but that goes unanswered as he is teleported to his final, heart-wrenching destination of what could have been.
Dada!
You and Wanda have a daughter. Hey, it's okay, let it out.
How?
Your creator is still with you. He didn't sell you. It's as simple as that.
As Spawn is relishing the moment, Cerebus finds it to be the best time to exit stage. But then he asks if he could stay, as he unsurprisingly has many questions about this whole situation. But then a ringing phone cuts him off.
Hello? Who? Oh, it's for you.
Spawn then continues to play with his daughter as Cerebus is finishing his phone call, who then thanks him for the invitation about staying a while, but that he really should get going.
Tell Wanda Cerebus says hi.
I sure will. I sure will.
Hi, honey. I'm home. Did you have a nice day?
Yes, Wanda. Yes, I did. I had a bad dream, I think. But,
Dada! Dada!
you know, it's best not to think about it.